If you see red on the ground, ordinarily behind the boss will be the safe place. If you see purple on the ground, it'll be in front of the boss 9 out of 10 times. Let's talk about geometry again. The line attacks, I mean, it's a line. Dodge the fucking line. The cone attack, it's not complicated. There's one space that's safe. But again, remember, if you're out here trying to run into there, it's going to take you longer than if you're close to the boss and you just swing right around. Okay, it's just an orbit concept again. All the cone attacks that they do, same stuff, how it all applies. Now, let's talk about the inner and outer circles, though. Like, we see that donut thing where a bunch of circles get made. Oh, let me do it like this. A bunch of circles get made out and in. And then what you see is people usually, or the way we were taught way back in the day, is they wanted us to, run in a circle, avoiding each other, and avoiding all the little purple bombs that are dropping on our head, right? But what I'm actually telling you to do here is I'm telling you to just alternate back and forth. I'm telling you to zig left when the purple is here, and then when the purple drops here, where you're currently standing, I'm telling you to zig back right, and then to keep doing that. So I'm encouraging you to zigzag back and forth because it's that simple to do. All right, let's get that one out of the way. And that's just gate 1. What other mechs do we have on that gate? We have the orbs, right? And I'm pretty sure that this is the new one. So let's go ahead and open this up, right? This isn't that complicated. I really don't feel I need to explain this, but I guess I will. Essentially, you're going to have an orb that follows you. Don't stand too close to it and take it. Don't stand too far away from it that it doesn't track you. Be an alert and aware teammate. That's also one of my major tips for this entire series, is just be a good teammate. Be aware, be an asset. So if you see your orb starting to drift off into the distance, go fucking chase it and get it. Don't pick it up, but get it to follow you. I think that the new version of this is so easy. It can only start, so many colors. If you just kind of follow along with this, what it's basically saying is if the orb starts off on green and you need to bring green in here, then all you have to do is go along in a zigzag and drag it in. I actually don't like that this is drawn out like that. I think what you should do is both of you should be standing relatively centered to take your orb. So if the orb is here, I think you should be standing, let's go ahead and use blue. You should be standing somewhere in here, somewhere in here. And if it's the color that you need is coming up next, so let's say this was red, this orb, and it became blue and you had to bring blue in, I would immediately directly bring that in. And if it was green, I would actually go like this and swing it in. And then same thing here, is if it was direct, I would bring it directly in, avoiding the contact path of my teammates and leaving this giant space open. This person should be zigging this way, leaving this giant space open. And if this person zigs either this way or this way, it doesn't really matter. It should be leaving this giant space open. So that's really what I'm trying to show you here, is not so much how to do the colors, because again, you can learn that from the other raid guide videos. They'll teach you what you're supposed to do. I'm just trying to give you tips on how to do so. And my tips here on how to do so is really just give your teammates ample amount of space and give yourself enough wiggle room to make a complete circle if you need to. That's all. Okay, so for this next one, what we're actually going to do is we're going to watch ATK's raid guide. And the reason we're going to do this is a couple of things I just want to correct, and I actually just think this will be an easier way to do it for the gate 2. We're going to pull up on the side, obviously. I want to have the raid guide pulled up to the side. I'm going to see what's going on. So the first thing that we're going to have is going to be the 120 mech, and I disagree with this. So I've never liked how this gets called out. I've never liked how this gets called out. I don't like the way that the Koreans taught it. I think that it's actually extra steps that the way they do it. Okay, I'm cutting a ton of this out because rewatching it, I just have an easier way to explain it. So basically, for the 120 bar HP mech, Vykus Gate 2, the way that they're currently calling it is just really inefficient. So I'm just going to teach you the way that I think it should be done and the way that I think it should have been taught, and that's it. So let's keep it short and simple. So this represents 2 wings, 5, 2. This represents 0 wings, 7, 0. And this represents 1 wing, 11, 1, right? And what that means is the boss model has 1 wing, the boss model has 2 wings open, and then the boss model has 0 wings closed, right? Purple was closed, red was open. I want you guys to now associate red with 2 and closed purple with 0. And the reason that is I actually think it's better if the center are the only people who call anything out. So right now what we have is an open red, which means 2, right? Which means that it's this one in the bottom right. So the player that's over here, one of these 5 players or all of the 5 players in the center, as soon as they realize that it's 3 reds, should type and only type in the center 2 or 0, whatever it is, because there's only 2 options. So they type 2 in the center, and then the person with 2 wings just pings the fucking 2 wings, and we go to the 2 wings. The tricky part is the follow-up, because now we have to know where 11, 1 is, right? We need to know where the 1 wing is. And now what you could do is you could have them ping in synchronization, where it's ping, 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 and we try to keep track of that. But I actually think that, again, you could just simplify this and make it easier on everybody. So as soon as the middle group calls out 2, open, 2 wings, which is 5, 2, the person at 5 o'clock will ping 5 o'clock, and then the person who has 0 wings will ping their 0 wings, indicating the last destination we'll be going to. So you have 1 call out, 2 pings, and that's it. Whereas the other version has like 5 callouts. I'm not even kidding. 5 callouts and like 3 pings. It's just crazy. This is just easier. This is the way they taught this was stupid, and I don't care. It was. This is just a better way to do this and a better way to teach it. So again, what you're going to be doing, and hopefully you guys start implementing this in the community, even though we're not going to be doing vykus much longer. That's why I started with these raids first. Is you would say 2 in the chat if you're in the center, because it's 2 wings. That's what we're looking for. This person will ping. And then right after this person pings, whoever has the 0 wings, or the opposite of whatever it was, because if it was closed first, will ping 7, because that's 0. So now we know by logical deduction that we have to go to 11, because this was our last destination. So our first destination, our last destination, that means we go up, ding, done. It's not complicated. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. This part, this is basically where he's telling you to call it out. And I'm sorry, it's just stupid. It really is just stupid. It just doesn't make any sense. Like predestined positions. This is what they have you doing. Look at how much, look at how much this guy has you doing to get set up. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, look at how much they have you memorizing to get this set up for you to understand. And then compare it to what I just tried to teach you, and you tell me which one was the easier version to pick up, learn, and institute into pugs. Or implement into pugs. I'm sorry, but, like, this is what I mean. These kids don't know how to teach, and I'm not being mean. It's just a fucking fact. It's a fact. Like, they just do not know how to teach. Here we go. And look, he even used different words. Unfolded, folded. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. 1 wing, 0 wings, 2 wings, or closed versus open is all you have to remember. This one on the left is the open, 2 wings. This one on the right is the closed, 0 wings. This is purple. This is red. And again, editing, right? Like, what they should have done here is they should have color-coded shit like this with the words, but it doesn't matter. The one in the middle is kind of not the least important, but it really is. If you just know the other 2, then you know where to go. But you do kind of need to recognize this one if you see it. Which one's which? You know that you have closed over here. That's the other thing too. So like if you see that the one you do see is the color that we have, then you just ping it. And that's what I'm saying. So I just don't think that all the extra text chat is fucking needed. It's not needed. I don't just think it. I fucking know it. You're teaching people a bunch of extra shit that they just don't need to know. Okay, so we're going to do red-black next. Red-black's really not complicated. Let's go ahead and pull the paint back up. We're going to undo everything except for those. So we'll cross this out. So in this mech, what you're going to do is you're going to have 5 orbs total. Alright, so there's going to be 5 orbs total. Out of each, I don't even remember. It's been that long since I've done vykus. I think you take the blacks. We're going to find out in a second. Yeah, 5 1 5. So I actually do like how they do this. I do like how they do this, whether it be with the numbers, which is simpler, by saying position 5 o'clock. The first orb was black. The last orb was black. So those are the 2 that you need to take, 1 through 5. So I do actually like that the way that this was taught. I think it was really good. But again, basically what they're saying there is that person was 5 o'clock, and they're saying, oof, not what I want. What they had seen was they saw a black flash, a red flash, a red flash, a red flash, right, for 4 total flashes, and then a black flash again. And what that gave that guy was 5, position 5 o'clock. The first orb needs to be taken. The second orb needs to be taken, or the fifth orb needs to be taken. And what that is implying is that orb 2, 3, and 4 does not get taken. So the first orb is going to be black. The second and third orb. The second, third, and fourth orb are going to be red, and the fourth orb is going to be, or the fifth orb is going to be black. So you're going to take the first one or block the first one. You're going to let the next 3 hit the boss, and you're going to block the 5th one. Okay? And now again, logical deduction. 2 of these characters, or 2 of these boss models, have to have 3 blacks. Okay? There's a total of 8 blacks that need to be blocked. So if this one has 2 blacks, then the 2 people who play Phil at this point automatically know that 11 o'clock, and 7 o'clock are going to need their help. Let's go ahead and get rid of these circles, or we'll keep those ones, but I do want to draw 11, 7, oh my god, and draw that orb back. So now what you should see, and I don't know this to be true, but something to the effect of a black circle. Oh my god, can we please stop doing that? A black circle, a black circle, maybe a red circle, a black circle, and a red circle. Okay? And what this is telling this person to call out, whoever 7, oof, my gosh, oh my god, whoever called 7-1 would, or basically either of the 7s really, this is what I'm saying, be a good teammate. Like, this isn't the responsibility of one person. Okay? But essentially what this count would have looked like would have been 7, 1, 2, 4. Because in the sequence, the orbs that you're taking is 1, 2, skipping 3, taking 4, skipping 5. 1 of 5 orbs, or of 5 orbs total. Everyone will get 5 orbs total. And then this third one, I don't know what it'll be, but it'll also be something similar to that. So what we'll say is, we'll say that the first one's red. Let's play a game. And then the next 3 we're just going to say are black. 1, 2, or no, let's mix it up a little. We'll make this one red, and then we'll do the last one in black. And essentially what this is saying is 11, and in the comment sections, if you don't know this, try to type it and see if you're right, is you're skipping 1, going to 2, 3, skipping 4, and going to 5. So the orbs that you need to block here, you let the first orb hit, then you block the second, the third, let the fourth orb hit, and then block the 5th. And I hope that actually helps out a lot on this. Again, I know that these people already explained this stuff in their aid guides. I'm breaking this down to a level that I think anybody can comprehend it, and I hope that it simplifies it for you. I do like the way that they set this up and they do the callouts. I'm not trying to change the way that they do the other part, either with the wings and stuff. I'm just saying that I don't think it's the most efficient. Okay? And then finally, let's just move on. Okay, so to start, again, the most important part is to remember these HP marks and be ahead of them. The first one is Swamp. Again, watch these other people's guides because they're going to teach you about meter gain. They're going to teach you about how to maintain it. A lust gauge, how you lose control, things like that. So don't be a shit player. Don't be DPSing so much that you're getting turned every 10 seconds. These things are important. You're also going to have things like poops underneath your feet that you need to worry about. I would argue that those are the things that you need to get really familiar with before you even go in, and the things that you need to be aware of as you're playing the raid. So I'm not telling you not to have fun, but like if you're drunk or completely fucked up, you might not be as aware or alert, and you probably miss stuff like that. Um, so just a heads up. Lust gauge is pretty important on this gate, so it's really important that you pay attention to it and you don't let it overbuild. He's basically going to tell you to poop outside. Good dogs poop outside, right? So just bring your poops out, watch your feet. It's a reoccurring thing in this game too, so it's just an overall raid guide. Like, be aware of what's under your feet debuff wise. Typing test is a typing test. This is a preemptive one, so like when you're getting close to 135 bars, just kind of migrate yourself towards the north part of the map, the top part of the map. I will say a little tip here is Azina does slow down the typing test and or take away letters if I remember correctly, but you just shouldn't need it. Like, just practice your typing. I'm not going to give any advice on Sidrill or anything after that. Stagger and frogs. So the meta that we've had recently is to use way to stagger and kill the top frog while we kill the bottom frog. But for teams that are more on eye level, although you can still do that exact same thing. But for teams that are more on eye level, if you'd rather just do it the old school way, which I think is time stop, basically what you do is you guys hit the stagger like normal, if I remember correctly. Right. Yeah, you guys hit the stagger like normal. Wait, do you? I don't even remember how to do this correctly, actually. Let's watch. No, because they're doing way. Yeah, I really don't even remember how to do that normal. Or the way we used to do it. Also, they kind of lost like their whole team. I don't think he knows how to do it. Oh, here we go. And time stop. So yeah, that's usually how we used to do it, is we would just hit the stagger and then time stop it at the end. Obviously, two different methods to doing it. Again, not a really complicated mechanic. The only part that's complicated about this is that if you do it the new school way, where we use the way to hit the frog and the stagger, the goal there is to try to build up meter so you can kill the two frogs, because you can't hurt the frogs without meter. But in addition, it's kind of preparing you for tentacles or a mech that's coming up after that. So you'll have a high gauge for the mechanic. Also, he skipped 120 mech. Like, what the fuck? Like, I did. Do you know what's funny about this? Rewatching this guide video, he's got all that stuff in the beginning. I know he doesn't even have it. What the fuck? Tentacles, so the HP that you need to remember is 55. At tentacles, you really just split into two sides. You know, party one takes the left and party two takes the right. I will say this is another moment where be an asset. Don't just be a douchebag teammate that once you're done with your one tentacle, you just stand there. Also, don't be so greedy that you get charmed and you screw your team. Take your time, do what you're supposed to do, because you could cause more of an issue if you get turned than if you were to just have a hard time killing your one fucking tentacle. I will say that if you have linear attacks, so the Scrapper is a bad example for this, but if you have a character, or actually not really, I'm pretty sure the alt's linear, but if you have characters like the Deadeye, who have that flame thing, the Zerker, whose alt is kind of linear, then you can actually kill multiples of these tentacles at the exact same time, and I would recommend doing that. But other than that, I don't really have advice for this. Like, just be a good teammate, don't stop moving. That's a great attack to hit a couple of them. Whoever this player is doing this just terribly, if I'm being completely honest, because like he just wasted two solid linear attacks. Like, I would argue the Scouter is probably one of the best characters for this. Or no, actually he did it, I think, right there. Did he do it right there? I think he did do it right there. Yeah, see, he's hitting, see the hit markers up top left, and you're going to see on the top right. Also, pay attention to your minimap. It'll tell you where the ones are left, so if you're trying to be a good teammate, you can just find it. See how he's using his linear attack to kill 2 for 1, and it doesn't disappear right away, but he did kill 2 for 1 right there. And then, bam, he killed a third. So one player was able to take out 3 all by himself, and this is kind of what I'm getting at. Like, people really make this way too complicated of a situation. Just kill your fucking tentacle and go help somebody else kill theirs. But him getting turned there is probably going to cause a fail. As for a Gunlancer, like, I actually don't know how this guy's about to clear this. Yeah, he can only do 1. So there's certain characters that are just going to have an absolutely miserable time trying to clear more than 1. And actually, that's not true, because I have a Gunlancer, and so what he could have done is he could have been standing in the center here and taunted the both of them, or Surge Cannon the both of them. It may not have worked out, like this may still not have worked out, but again, this is just an overall raid tip if you're sitting here and watching for this long. This is bad positioning too, and maybe that's something I should have covered first, is about good positioning in all of these raids, and maybe I'll make like a TLDR type of thing, like here's the things you need to do in raids, right? And this is one of the things that you need to do in raids, which is have good positioning. His good positioning would have been in between these two things. Even if he can't damage both of them, it would have been better for him to kill this one from this angle, spin around, kill this one, and then have to run down. But because he's way up here at the top of the map, for him to get down here to help anybody, he's going to have to run really fucking far. Just my 2 cents. So I personally don't like his positioning on this one. I think it's really bad. I mean, obviously it works out. Small things. All right, let's go to Swamp. This one pisses me off the most because the blue circles are obviously speed circles and the brown circle is the slow circle. You need to be slowed because the boss is attracting you towards the center to kill you. So, 2 things. One, this one pisses me off because this is another one of those things where you should just be ahead of the mechanic and thinking ahead. It's at 170 and it's at, like... Shit, where's the other one? 75, I think. So you have one at like 170 and then one at like 80. Oh, he says it actually right here, 170 and 75. So you have 2 of them that come up, and you should just preemptively be ahead of it. But there is a geometric aspect here that I do want to show you. So we'll pull up paint again. At the same time, what you're hoping for is these people to drop all of their circles up here somewhere. I mean, you can really just stack them together. You don't really need to be separated here. Your character models don't overlap, so you can't really get in each other's way. So just drop your fucking speed circles on the outer edges. It's not complicated if you're thinking ahead of the mechanic and you're prepared for it. And you know the HP bars, which were 170 and 70. But here's the tip that I'm going to give you. Is that if you're one of these outside circles, that it's actually, let's go ahead and change that back to what it was. If you're one of these outside circles, again, the way an orbit works is if you're standing, first off, if you're dropping your poop in here, there's a good chance this might accidentally hit these guys, right? But 2, it is actually better to be on the outside of the circle here, and here's why. If you're on the inside of the circle, right, or anywhere on the inside of the circle, you're actually having to run all the way to here and position correctly. But you're probably going to run through the brown and get slowed down, so you'll only actually end up like somewhere here before you start running towards the center. But if you follow this small geometric tip that I'm about to give you, if you're out here and you actually just run along the outside skirts of the circle, then when you finish and complete, you will already be at the outside edge of the brown, as far away from the center as you can possibly be. So again, it's just a geometric aspect. Don't run here, don't run here, don't run here, don't run here. Run along the outside edge. Okay, small geometric aspect to add to that. Let's go ahead and get back to the video. And you're going to see it here. So he's not going to follow that concept because, again, he's just an idiot. Or he kind of does, actually. Do you see what he kind of did there? He kind of, I don't know what. And see how these guys died because they dashed for the edge? That's the point. Like, you can avoid doing that by just riding the edge of the circle. Because even if you do dash on the outside edge of the circle, because you're dashing on the edge of the circle, you're most likely just going to dash into position. If you're dashing from somewhere out here in, there's a good chance you'll either overshoot it or you'll undershoot it and end up somewhere where you're probably going to end up dying to the center. All of that is hypothetical, obviously. But there's truth to it. So personally, I do like kind of how he did that right there. He went towards the outside circle. I think he's going to do it again, too. Oh my god, he actually does this mechanic perfect. Do you see how he literally stays on the outside edge? That's the point. Okay, and he doesn't talk about little things like that, and he doesn't always do little things like that. As you saw in the other mechanic, he did things that I wouldn't have done. He positioned on the outside of the tentacle. And I get it, you're probably like, well, I don't want to think all this while I'm doing the raid. The thing is it's kind of second nature. For anybody that's a good gamer, they're inherently going to pick up these tricks and these traits, and then they'll never not do them again. Every video game you ever play from this point forth, if you register this shit and understand it, the geometrical aspects that I'm teaching you, you will never look at any other video game you play again the same. And that's why I'm saying, like, I'm teaching you things for this game, but I'm actually not. I'm teaching you things that will transfer into other aspects of reality. Whether it be another game, or it be the way you design things, or the way you look at things, or anything in that fashion, these concepts apply because they're just undertone mathematical laws, or principles. Go ahead and draw a couple more circles in here. 4-player, 2-2, and 2-1. So essentially what you have here is maybe I can get this to fit in here. 12. We're going to say this is 2-1, 2-2, 1-1, and 1-2. These represent the 4 players that have been given the task. If we have this second whole example, this whole example here is the one in play, then what you would actually see is we're going to take the frontals first. So what we had was one wing open, then 1-1 looks, right? So then 1-1 is going to look, and 1-2 is going to look away. Make sense? And then the second cycle, both wings were open, then both players look. Both of these players are going to look at the Medusa. And that's how you complete that mechanic. I hope that that helps on that. I hope that that simplifies a lot of that, especially for the eye-level groups that are actually having to do that mechanic. So right here, 2 things. And I'm just going to explain what I see on screen. First off, don't look at the center. Second off, look at your mini-map and identify where the actual boss model is. You don't need to see it. You can see it on the mini-map first. Third off, before the circles and shit even start spawning, you can already start hitting stagger abilities using your cooldowns. I don't know if I would use a whirlwind yet. I use a whirlwind right here at the beginning because if you use it right off the bat, you'll usually get it back up by the time the boss lands in the center. And I'll show you when that is. So if you threw one by now, these circles that are spawning will take away your meter gauge, so it's important to get hit by a couple of them, but you need to move away from the front of the boss pretty freaking quick and get to the back. So you just do your regular stagger stuff. Now, by the time the boss goes to the center, so like right about now, if you had thrown your whirlwind right at the beginning, like I had said, and got it on cooldown, by the time, actually he might even have his up by the time it happens anyways too, but by the time the boss lands again, he's like 6 seconds late, but by the time the boss had landed again, you would have your whirlwind again, and you could all throw your whole next cycle of whirlwinds. What you're seeing here is if the stagger is short, how they all brought their poops to the outer edges of the map. That's very important. Because if she starts doing her crazy radical attacks like this, everybody can actually relocate at the northern part of the map preemptively, because there's 4 minutes left on the clock, and it's better than wiping right here. Go to the north part of the map and wait for the second cycle. I don't know if we're going to see it here, but we might. We are going to see a second cycle there. So here's the second cycle. That if they had just gone to the top of the map, they wouldn't be dealing with what they're dealing with right now. I actually think they're about to get fucked, which is crazy. But it's because they're not preemptively playing. Like, these are just shitty players. I'm going to say it like it is. Like, the fact that that just happened and unfolded the way it did was because every single one of those people made a terrible decision. And you just go and you do the exact same concept and you hit the stagger again. So that's really it. I don't know what else I can show you guys or teach you guys about all of this. This shit's really not that complex. Let's go ahead and pull the camera up. But that's it. So that's the Vulcan and or Vykus raid guides. I hope that that helps you guys. I think that that'll alleviate a lot of the confusion in these 2 raids.
Let's go. Public enemy number 1. When we mobbing, trouble in the streets, here we come. With the spotting. Public enemy number 1. And we mobbing. Bring it on. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Trouble on the way. I want my revenge. Welcome to the payday. Hungry for destruction. Crazy for the cray. Better clear the exits. Make a way to vacate. Ready to rage a riot. I wanna raise a silence. Yeah. Living the safe environment is within a silence. Yeah. They wanna make us quiet. Breaking the cage of silence. Yeah. They wanna make compliance. We gon' restrict the fire. Yeah. Time to write a new code. Let's let the rules go. Show them why they name us public enemy. Uno. Yeah. They say we ruthless. We savage. Yeah. There's a method to the madness. Yeah. They say we psycho, the baddest. There's a method to the madness. 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 Yeah, but there's a method to the madness. We gon' do it our way, never needed the kudos. Kill 'em with the chaos, only way that we do know. Lawless and ruthless, that's a dynamic duo. That we get the job done while you running your food home.